Hey guys, it's WickJKR, and here I'm going to be talking to you guys about what I think are patch 1120 Viego's current matchups in a bit of a tier list format. Now I must say that it is sad for me to look at this and put this together knowing that a couple patches ago this whole thing was pretty much flipped. I used to think that Viego had pretty much no losing matchups with all of the tools he had, but sadly as he's been kneecapped repeatedly, his sustain's gone, his Q damage is gone, his auto range is gone. It's gotten a hell of a lot more difficult to get through these matchups. That being said, just because a matchup is -2 or -1 doesn't mean you can't get through it. Now I will be going in from top to bottom, so +2 I put Yuumi. Honestly, Yuumi probably isn't even +2, but I don't think there's any real champion that Viego just absolutely decimates anymore. I used to think that there was a couple that Viego pretty much just rolled over, like especially like the Sylas or the Kassadin. Like Viego just won every time. Now I think they have a lot more counterplay, but so moving on to them, Kassadin, Sylas, and the only ranged character I think is +1 is Corki, simply because Corki is very weak early game, and I find most Corkis build Cole or Tier first item, which doesn't give them any health. So if you're psycho like me and you actually bring Ignite still on Viego mid, you can often find early kills, especially in like the level 1 to 2 area. If you find yourself up against a Corki who is stupid enough to not take W level 2, you all in that guy like immediately and just murder him because he has no health, he has no way out, and that's what I find myself against Corki. As far as Kassadin, I find personally that as long as I'm keeping up with the Kassadin, even when he hits 6, I should beat him. What I do a lot, especially if I have Ignite, if Kassadin is foolish enough to ult on top of me when he hits level 6, if he doesn't have flash, I know he's dead. I just start autoing him, I beat him to death, I ignite him, and then as soon as he ults, I just ult his ult and he dies. The guy just splats. Now of course, as the game goes on, he might eventually get to a point where he just flattens you, but I find the Kassadin matchup one of the easier ones. And then this one's a controversial one. I am a massive hater of Sylas. I hate Sylas. That being said, if the Sylas isn't roaming bottom and getting a free double kill, most of the time, it's a very free matchup for Viego. Your biggest problem is going to be, Sylas is going to try and take a trade where he gets you to half HP, and he's at half HP, and then he leaves. But if he can do his combo and kill you, without you sustaining the fight and killing him back, you lose. So the major thing to remember when fighting a champion like Sylas is that you need to make sure that he is forced to stay in that fight with you. So you want him to E onto you. You don't want to engage on Sylas, use all your stuff, and then he E's away, because you're never going to kill him. As far as the even matchups, I'm not going to go over every matchup in this video, but the Yasuo Yone, I used to think used to be heavily Viego favored. With all of the nerfs, I'm not so sure anymore. I think, ulting their ults and stuff like that is still useful, but it's just not as easy. Things like Echo, Katarina, Diana, these melee champions are champions that still Viego can punish, but the thing is, I don't think he can punish them as easy or as well as he used to. So I think it takes more skill on the Viego's part, and it's just, I think, a lot easier for those characters to just get through the laning phase. Katarina just teleports by, gets a double kill, ignores you. You know what I mean? It's not as easy to punish these characters as it used to be. Now, as far as characters that I think are ranged that you might be able to beat is Vladimir. Now that your main problem with Vladimir is he out-sustains you now because you have no sustain, but I find it that I can often get a kill on Vladimir pretty early, or if the Vladimir is ever stupid enough to use his pool, you can kill him. Twisted Fate, obviously he doesn't have like the best damage himself. His bigger problem is setup, so he sets up for his jungler, but himself I find isn't that bad. Zoe might come off as like a weird character. You might be like, man, how do I get onto Zoe? Your major thing with Zoe is this. Zoe's going to bubble you. So say you go next to Zoe, she'll bubble you, and the drowsy will come up. You can ult off the Zoe sleep. Your ult makes you unstoppable. So you ult her sleep, and then she's out of tools, right? Her ult doesn't get her to actually dash away. Unless she has flash, she's out of tools. She just used her sleep on you. You can catch up to Zoe and kill her. Seraphine, it's tough. You can't really kill her exactly, but I just don't think she really has like the tools to like kill Viego outright, so that's why I say it's even. As far as like the -1 category, most of the assassins I think now kind of beat Viego. Kiana, I despise that champion. Zed, I despise. Like these are just champions where if you don't have exhaust level 6, they're going to one-shot you. You're going to come back to lane, they're going to one-shot you again. You're going to come back to lane, rinse and repeat until you lose the game. These champions like Irelia or Set or Pantheon, like just these like brute force early game champions, they're just incredibly annoying because they're just going to beat you to death. It's going to be really hard. If you miss a single Q, you probably lose the fight. Trinimir mid, obviously really broken right now. I mean, there's not much to say there. These champions like Galio or Jace, I find especially with Galio and Jace is they will not have a real fight with you, right? Like if you try and engage on them, Galio, what's he going to do? He's going to do taunt QE and then just walk away. Jace is going to do EQ, turn into his hammer form, QE, whack you away, and then walk away. They don't actually interact with you. They're not trying to have an extended fight where Viego thrives. They're just trying to do their combo and walk away. Now, the rest of this category is mainly just mages, just poke mages or scaling mages. You know, their difficulties vary from champion to champion. I think Nico is probably a little harder than, say, like Lux or something like that. Or, you know, some of them are more easier to punish than others. But overall, they're all just going to, like, try and whittle you down or just, you know, not play the lane, just try and farm. And it's just hard to get onto these champions as Viego. I'm not saying that they're all even or it's, like, ordered in some way. It's just all of these ranged mages are just tough to get on as Viego. And then finally, the top 5 worst characters, I think, for Viego are Anivia, LeBlanc, Auction, Tristana, and Rumble. So all of these are ranged characters except for Rumble. Rumble you can kind of consider to be ranged a little bit. My main issue with Rumble is that there is no opportunity for Viego to fight him, really. You kind of can, maybe, sort of. If he uses all of his tools and fucks up where he points his Q, maybe. But the thing is, since they buffed Rumble's overheat auto damage, you don't he beats you when he's overheated, he beats you when he's not overheated, he scales pretty well. Like, there's just not a lot of room to beat him as a Viego. He's gonna buy stopwatch, he's gonna burn you to death, he's gonna buy first item Sork shoes. Like, it's just unfun and there isn't a lot of room to play. Auction and Tristana are pretty similar. They just not to Rumble, but those champions to each other. They're just going to shoot you. They're 80 carries. They're just going to shoot you repeatedly. You're not really going to get to play the game. I think Auction has a little bit more counterplay, especially if you're playing against him top lane over mid lane. Your main thing against Auction is you want to W onto him, like do the, I call it the wicker flicker, but invisible WE combo onto him, and then stand in between him and the wall, right? Because that's the only way to get him. But like Tristana, she's just gonna W away, she's gonna ult you away. Like, there isn't a lot you can do, right? LeBlanc, I think, is an absolute fucking menace. I think she is so overdue for a nerf. She can miss her E, she can miss her Q too. She can just do Q, W, her W. She can just do Q, W, miss the W, just auto R, and then she procs electrocute and you lose half your health. You can be trying to farm under your turret. She'll do Q, W onto you, and then W back, and she won't take a turret shot. So you just lose half your HP, and she didn't even take a turret shot. There's no way to retaliate. If they're fast enough, you can't even auto them while they W onto you. There's no retaliation at all. So it's an incredibly difficult matchup for Viego. She puts you on her leash. It's quite hellish. And then finally, I think that this has been one of Viego's worst matchups for pretty much his entire existence. Anivia is an absolute hell for Viego. Her wall, I mean, your only way over it is your ult, right? So if you don't have your ult, you're pretty fucked. Her ult just slows you, or Q. Like, she doesn't even need to hit her Q. I die to Anivia's a lot. I checked the recap. They didn't hit me with a single Q, man. They just R-E'd me. They just W me. If I kill her, it doesn't even count. I need to kill her again to get her body. She really cucks your snowball potential. She's just very... There's not a lot you can do against an Anivia as a Viego. Maybe you can call for a jungle help. I will say she's a lot easier to gank than, say, a LeBlanc. But there's really not a whole lot Viego can do against an Anivia. But yeah, those are all my thoughts on current 1120 Viego. I'm hoping that in the future we can... I mean, the guy is deserving of buffs. Hopefully, to God, he gets buffs. And that might change how the matchups are in the future. Maybe I'll make a new video then. But as for right now, these are just my feelings. yeah, if there's anything I can help you guys with Viego, with anything, let me know in the comments or stop by my stream. I stream there fucking 6 days a week. I'm always down to talk about anything. So let me know, and yeah, I appreciate you guys watching so much, and have a great day.